Welcome to Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast. Hey, it's JD here, back for another week of shuffling my way through the catalog of seminal indie rock band Pavement, looking for a sign, a show, anything that will tip me off as to why they're so goddamn good. Now, I need to tell you, I am uncool and underqualified to be doing such a task, but seeing as I'm the only one here, I'm going to do it. So there's that. Now, this week on the pod, we are moving our way through Wowie Zowie. Last week we did an intro, we talked artwork, and we did We Dance. The second track on Wowie Zowie is a track that we already did. And we did it on the Rattled by LaRush EP, the first track on that, and it is Rattled by the Rush. So for the first time in the history of this podcast, other than this intro, sit back and enjoy a repeat. This is Rattled by the Rush. Welcome to Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast. Whoops. Oh boy. Things are starting just as I anticipated. I pushed the wrong button, and so here we are. I'm talking to you now, though, and that's a good thing because that's what this is all about. It's a podcast where we look at the oeuvre of our favorite indie rock band Pavement, and we, maybe take a deeper dive than normally because we only look at one track. Each week we look at one track in chronological order, and as such, we're privy to information that maybe we would miss if we listened to a whole record. So maybe not, though. There's always that side of the coin, that maybe not. Maybe I'm just completely full of shit and we're missing nothing. But if that is the case, we still get to listen to Pavement every week, and that's a good thing. So there's that. I don't know if you can tell from my voice, but I'm breathing a little heavier than normal. I got me one of those fancy Peloton bikes and I'm just riding like it's my stallion, and I'm not going to be fat anymore. That's what I've decided. So it's been a while since I've had a beer. It's been, what is it today? It's the something of February, 20th of February. It's been, God. Yeah, it's been at least 25 days. That's a long time for me. And, oh well. Oh well. So, listen, Stephen Malcolmus is going on tour for an album that comes out about 2 weeks from now called Traditional Techniques. We've got to hear 2 songs off this record so far. And I don't know about you, but I like what I'm hearing. It's very jammy, very, I don't know, I picture myself in a cloud of smoke, and I picture myself really enjoying it. And I've got tickets to a couple shows, potentially a third show. I'm going to see him in Toronto, which is fantastic because it's literally up the street from my house. It's a 10-minute walk. It's like a 15-minute stumble if I decide to partake that evening. And, that's good. And then he plays in Cleveland the next night, and I might drive down to Cleveland. And then make a hard left and head up to Detroit because I've got tickets to see him at St. Andrews Hall in Detroit. So I'm debating on Cleveland, got Toronto, got Detroit. If any of you lot out there want to enjoy one of those shows with me, that would be tremendous. I'll keep my eyes open for you. Let me know. Send me an email, jd@meetingmalcolmist.com. So where are we in the scheme of things? Well, you might be expecting, I think I might throw a curveball at you here, because you're probably expecting we dance because we go in chronological order. Aha, but I do EPs as well. And technically speaking, the singles released from Crooked Rain were not EPs, but Rattled by La Rush is technically listed as a 4-song EP. Yeah, it contains Rattled by the Rush, Brink of the Clouds, False Scorpion, and Easily Fooled. Some really great B-side material. So, chronologically speaking, Rattled by La Rush came out. The CD EP, 7-inch, came out in March of 95, a month before Wowie Zowie came out. So I don't know if you can. I was gonna say I don't know if you can smell what I'm cooking. That's very 1999 WWF of me. I don't know if you can smell what I'm cooking. Oh boy. I'm having a day, folks. I'm having a day over here. It's everyone in my house has a cold. It's cold as fuck outside. I don't know how many of you are in Canada that listen to this or in the northern United States. But from February 15th onward, it is like we are done with winter. We are done with dark skies at 6 p.m. We're just done. It's over. Whereas March rolls around, and even though it's very similar, it's March, and hope springs eternal, and there's baseball, and you start to see birds again, and that kind of stuff. So it's I'm done. I'm just done. And there's a lot of days where you just want to, stand on your balcony in a precarious way and tempt fate, maybe that's just me. I take pills for that, so I don't do that often, but God damn, Bible pushing, man. Let's listen to Rattled by the Rush. This is a fucking great song. There's a lot of consternation, I suppose, about whether or not the band chose the right singles on this record, on Wowie Zowie. Well, I'm here to say, 20, almost 25 years later, yes, goddammit, yes, they chose the right singles. These are great singles. Rattled by the Rush is a killer rock song, rock and roll song. There's, other than, some of the bonkers lyrics, and we'll talk about that a little bit, and the video being very low, lo-fi, in a time where people were still making big, grandiose $1 million, $2 million. I don't know how many millions of dollars people spend on videos, but they spent a lot. And Pavement was a prudent band. They didn't go out of their way to do that kind of stuff. They didn't. They recorded the records on the cheap. They recorded them and turned them into Matador. And it's a different look than a lot of bands had at that time, spending copious amounts of studio money to make it into the buzz bin or whatever. There's a lot of talk, that around this time you had the buzz bin and K-Rock, which is the big rock and roll station out of LA. And if you could bust through on K-Rock, and this all comes from books that I've been reading. And if you follow me on social, you'll see that I read the Brian Charles book, the Wowie Zowie 33 and a third book. So, in that they talk a lot about the band, and representatives talk a lot about K-Rock and breaking through and, hearing this kind of song on K-Rock. And there's truth to that. You break through on a station like that, and suddenly you're in rotation on lesser stations, and then there's billboards up about your record, and suddenly you sell a few more, tens of thousands of copies of the record, and you're considered a success. Pavement was coming off tremendous success. They sold 250,000 records with Crooked Rain, and this was going to be a follow-up. And obviously you wanted to approach 250,000. I don't know if it's like a movie where you think you want a sequel to be within a certain percentage of, the successor or predecessor. And I don't know if that's the case, but I would think that you would want it to be that would be your goal. That's your line in the sand. Let's sell at least what we sold in the album before. And there were a lot of people that heard Wowie Zowie and they were just like, no, this isn't, this isn't. And we're going to talk a lot about this as we go through these songs, because it's a different record. It's not cohesive in a way, in the way that Crooked Rain is, or even Slanted for that matter. Those records are really very cohesive, and they're albums. This is a collage or a pastiche, of a lot of different sounds and vibes and things. But right now we're talking specifically about Rattled by the Rush. And it's undeniable that this is a song with a hook. It's got a chantable chorus. It's got clean sound. There's no reason that a studio or the apparatus couldn't have got behind this song, other than it wasn't Crooked Rain Part 2. It wasn't Cut Your Hair Part 2. That's my take on it. This is not Cut Your Hair Part 2. This is a more refined Stephen Malkmus. This is a guy who's really showing his chops on guitar. Less sloppily played. And by that is not disparaging on Crooked Rain. It's just, there's a jangliness to Crooked Rain. There's a classic rock vibe to Crooked Rain, almost like a CCR or something like that. This jangly vibe, or Kinks, or, early garage or whatever. And it lends a cohesiveness to it. And Rattled doesn't have that. Wowie Zowie doesn't have that. But certainly Rattled doesn't have that. It's straight ahead. But I guess if we're thinking about what was going on in 95, my God, Cobain had been dead a year. And with him, that sort of spirit of anything is possible. And we went back. There were glimpses. Like, I like the Blue record just fine. But I wasn't big on Bush, and those were bands that were really pushed down our throat as the next big thing. And Not to my liking anyway. So there's that. Anyway, I said a while ago we'd listen to Rattled, and we should probably do that. I'm prattling on here. Although I've got a bunch of nice emails in the last 2 weeks about how much you guys, I was thinking of mothballing this thing not that long ago, and I was thinking of just taking a longer break. And I'll just tell you, the numbers of pats on the back that I got just out of the blue, it's almost like a coordinated effort. Like, let's pump up JD's tires here and make him feel all good and get him back behind the mic. And, well, God damn it, I'm here. We're going to do this. We're going to make some podcast magic happen. Oh, man. I truly am probably an alcoholic. That's how badly I need beer. This is Rattled by the Rush from Rattled by La Rush, the EP, the 7-inch EP. This is side 1 on Meeting Malcolmus, a pavement podcast.
Could bend my tongue outwards, leave your lungs hurting, tuck in my shirt into pants I wear so well, cross your T's, shirt smell worse than your lying, caught my dad crying, loose like the wind from the rough we get far, Sleet City woman waiting to spar. Well, I'm drowning for your thirst, drowning for your thirst, drowning for your thirst, drowning for your thirst. Getting off on the candelabra, we call her Barbara, reading like lava, she rising, then to serve combat, get out those hard hats and sing us some scat. Late lovers gush, chain and perfume, I don't need a minister, call me a groom, but I'm rattled by the rush, rattled by the rush, rattled by the rush, rattled by the rush.
Oh boy. That is 4 minutes and 17 seconds of gold. Listen, 4 minutes and 17 seconds is probably, going back on what I said earlier, probably a bit much for a radio cut. Maybe not in 95. People were, exploring space a little bit more with radio singles. But, regardless of that, this was a band in Pavement that didn't go out of their way to do radio edits of their songs, so there wasn't going to be a 3 minute and 30-second version of Rattled by the Rush 4K rock, maybe sweetened up a little bit as well in a mix. It was going to be what it was going to be, and that was, here it is, it's a single, here it is, it's a video, and the video isn't appealing. The video is I love the video. I love the video, so I shouldn't say it's not appealing, but it's the grungiest bathtub you've ever seen. And, not you've ever seen. So listen, I lived in a house, several years back, and we would come home some nights and there would be, there was a small little hole in our screen door. And one night we came home and the hole in the screen door was a little larger than it had been before, and there were raccoon prints all over our toilet seat. So a raccoon had come into our house to drink from the toilet, which is tremendous if you think about it. But that same house we moved out of, and we had a terrible landlord, so we left the house in a shambles. And years later, I was working in an office, and I was on a film shoot for a commercial that we were doing, and one of the producers was talking about where they used to live, and he said, I lived on the Danforth. I said, oh, I lived on the Danforth. He said, oh, I lived at, on this particular street, Harcourt. And I was like, oh, fuck, I lived on Harcourt. And he's like, I lived at 76 Harcourt. And I was like, I lived at 76 Harcourt. He was the person who moved in after us. And he was like, you guys left that house in such a shambles. Oh my God, it was terrible. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm telling you this because the video has a terrible looking bathtub, and our bathtub looked similar. And on the tiles of the bathtub, look this up on YouTube if you haven't already. On the tiles of the bathtub, you get shots of the band, and it's it's fun. The cuts are fun. They're in time with the music. It looks like the band is having a good time. I think it's a lot of fun, but it's not something that's going to just jump out at you like the Happy Days Weezer video or something like that. Like it's not designed to pop in that way. So there it is. And this is a lot of me lamenting the fact that they didn't become a mainstream band, but I'm thrilled that we've got our band that we can cleave onto here. The group of us that listen to this podcast and that still go to shows, and because I wish every Pavement fan out there listened to this podcast. I'd be a wealthy man, but that's not the case. Tell your friends, I can tell you that, I can tell you this. I shouldn't tell you this, but I'm going to tell you this. I had a talk with Scott a couple weeks ago. I released the full interview that we recorded on the bonus feed, and you can get the bonus feed for like $3 a month. $3 on Hun, man. It's well worth it. It helps me, and it's there's lots of good content on there, all the B-sides and interviews and stuff like that. Ultimately, when I do meet Malcolmus, that'll be where you find that full-length interview, that kind of stuff. I'm lined up to talk to Bob at some point, so that'll be on there. Anyway, the Primavera is the start of a couple of years of Pavement. I'm just going to say that off the record. That's what I can say. So buckle up. We're getting ready for some more Pavement. Now, back to Rattled by the Rush. 4 minutes, 17 seconds. You've got a song about soap in the John. There's not soap in the John. This was never going to be a giant hit in that way. But that's okay. That's okay. Now, you read in the various media that I've read and books that I've read and, Wikipedia, the vast research that I do for this podcast, that Stephen, as I suspected, is not somebody who keeps a notebook in terms of lyrics, not somebody who is a lyric meister. Well, he is a lyric meister, but he often is just off the cuff, and they'll do a track of a song, they'll do a vocal track, and take one will be this set of lyrics and take two will be the different set of lyrics. Like, he's just that sort of great at what he does. And in this song, we get some really cool rhymes. We've got tuck in my shirt, pants I wear so well, cross your T, shirt smell. I picture that being, this office-y type person, tuck in my shirt, pants I wear so well, cross your T, shirt smell. The cross your T-shirt smell is that, lawyer or something like that is, dressed up in a nice way, and they're there to cross your T's. But there's no paper trail here. There's no breadcrumb trail of what this is about, because then we get Worse Than Your Lying, Caught My Dad Crying, Looks Like the Wind. From the rough we get Par. Well, that's golf. Sleek City Woman, Waiting to Spar. I'm drowning for your thirst, drowning for your thirst, drowning for your thirst. If you think of that lyric, drowning for your thirst, there is something just beautifully poetic about it, because thirst and drowning are both related to liquid water, typically. And they're both horrific things. When you're very thirsty, it's a terrible feeling. It is for me anyway. When you're drowning, obviously that's very bad. So, drowning for your thirst. It's just, oh fuck, it's just so great. And then we go into the second verse, and getting off the candelabra, we call her Barbara, breeding like larva. She's rabble rousing, dental surf combat, get out those hard hats and sing us some scat. Like, what in the fuck? If you're trying to put a story to this song, good luck to you. I got nothing. If you got something, jd@meetingmalcolmist.com. I would love to hear from you. This has been a longer episode than normal. I had a lot to say. Next week we've got, what do we have? Brink of the Clouds. Is what we've got next week. So we'll get on to that and enjoy ourselves there. On the second, it's the first track of the second side of this, in quotes, EP. It's a single, but they call it an EP on Wikipedia, so I'm going with Wikipedia here. More songs to talk about, right? That's a good thing. Anyway, that's what I got for you this week. I love you so much. It hurts. It stings. So we'll talk to you soon. Be good. Meeting Malcolmus, a Pavement podcast, is a weekly affair. Connect with JD at jd@meetingmalcolmus.com. Please support the pod by rating, reviewing, or sponsoring us at meetingmalcolmus.com. And hey, I'm social. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at Meeting Malcolmus.